Welcome on my session about configuration-driven development environment. My name is Kamil Sacek and I'm Software Developer Department Manager in company NAVERTICA from Czech Republic, and I'm Microsoft MVP since 2005 for business applications. This session will be about our system of configuration-driven development environment. What does it mean? I will try to explain, and I will show you how it works and which tools we are using on that. First question: how you are storing information about your development environment? What I mean by development environment, I mean containers with Business Central for different applications you are developing, or for each developer, or for your products, for your customers, which version they are, and which applications you are developing, and these kind of things. How you store this information. It could be part of some YAML pipelines, definitions, and so on, or you don't have them, or you put them into the Excel, and so on. We are using, for example, to store this information, the work items, because during the development we are working with the work items. Why not to put this information there too? And that's the configuration for us of the development environment. Which container exists, name of the container, version, localization, for which purpose it is used, and so on. What you will see is how we are using it in our company. It's work in progress, and I want to inspire you how it could work. That's only one way from many. Of course, there are many, maybe better ways, but this is something which we started to use, and I see that it could be interesting for you. How it works. We are using the Azure DevOps work items for storing the configuration. We are using the hierarchy epic feature user story task. Epic is for us some set of application, like some customer, because we have customer have some set of apps which we are developing for him. Or it could be set of our product which are placed on app source, and we are developing them for the app source. Feature we are using for describing these apps. It means one feature means one app which we are developing. If it is pertinent app or app source app, doesn't matter. For each app, for each repository, for each app, we are creating work item of type feature, which is describing that app. Then user stories are the change requests which we have to implement some process, and so on. And because if you are implementing some process, you need somehow decide in which application it should be done. By connecting this user story to some feature, which is the app, I'm telling the developer which app should be used to implement this process. That's even the part of the configuration. We will see in a while how it works. And the task is standard task in Azure DevOps. You can assign some task to do something to some specific developer, consultant, and so on. We are not using only these standard types of work items, but we created even 2 new types of work items. Because Azure DevOps you can extend with your own work item types. We created work item environment, which is describing our environments, and application version, which is something more specific than the feature. It means it's for describing that there are multiple versions of the application and some configuration connected to that. But we will mostly talk about the environment work items in this session. What we are using in background to automatize some processes: PowerShell and Azure message queues. It means Azure storage account and message queues in this storage account. That's for communication between Azure DevOps and our PowerShell script. And because we are on BC Tech Talk, no more slides. I will go directly to the system. I will show you how it works. Now we are in Azure DevOps. We have some user stories here. And you see that 2 user stories are new. They were just created. And we have some user story which is already active. And you can see that there is already parent, which is a feature for that user story. It means this user story will be implemented in application which is named feedback app. If we look at how could look the app description, sorry, we'll look in the file for that. Now I want to implement these 2 user stories. Yeah. I need some app to implement them. It means I can create the app, or I already created that app as a part of my session about creating new BC app in a few seconds. It means it is already there, and I can see it in the features. I have BC Tech Talk Speakers app. What's on this work item? We have a new tab here for our own purpose with own informations. First, I can enter the customer name for which I'm developing that, if in case to want to have it there. I see that it's tenant app, it means PTE. I see the repository URL, it means here I will find the code for this application. And it means the developer don't need to search for the correct repository. He will take it from there. And I see the ID range reserved for this application. Even some sales info is connected to that app. It means I can tell, okay, this application will be on our price list or not, or it's just internal library. If it requires premium license or not. If it is already available, if it is supporting team member licensing and so on. I'm putting this sales info here in our system, and the sales part of our company could generate their Excel files and so on based on this info. We don't need to somehow fill some other Excel with this information or something. They are taking these informations directly from DevOps, where the developers or the consultants or product managers are maintaining these informations. Yeah. That's even the part of the configuration-driven development environment. There are some information used somewhere else. I have this app, okay? It means you can see it's new. It has no parent. I will assign this parent now because I want to have this app as a part of our BC Tech Talk modifications. Just mapped, okay? The app is part of these modifications of this set of apps. And if I go to the stories, now I could say, okay, these 2 user stories will be developed as a part of this BC Tech Talk app. It means I will just map them, and I can see now that the parent is assigned. And if someone will implement these user stories, he will know where to find the application and where to implement these changes. Yeah. That's the configuration. I'm telling where should be something developed. But that's not all. As a developer, I can go to the, for example, user story, and I can say, okay, I'm creating new branch to develop this change. I will put the name for this branch. I will base it on my repository, on my application. Create branch. Now I have my new branch here. I will go back to the user story. And what now will be triggered on our system? Now you see that I have new related work item here on this user story. Because our system noticed that there is a new branch on that user story, and he's creating development environment to develop this feature. That's the new work item type. Yeah, the process is created this work item automatically, and you can see that this development environment have some additional info on that. It is development environment type. It have some URL to access that. It have name of the environment, domain, and so on. And I can see even the version which it will be. Version 17, W1, latest. It's new. After this work item is created, in this case automatically, but could be created manually with filling all these things. And if it is switched to active, the automatic process in background will take it, and you can see now that the environment state is creating. A few seconds ago it was new, now it's creating. It means on the server, the container is being created now for me to be able to develop these changes as a developer. In 2 minutes or something like that, the environment state will switch to created, and it means that the environment will be available on this URL. There are multiple environment types we are using. Dev for development. It means they include the test libraries and are used with developers to develop the changes and work with them from VS Code to publish the app there, test it, and so on. These development environments are discarded after the development was finished. It means when developer creates pull request for the changes, the pull request is completed, and if someone checks that the branch should be removed, deleted, and the branch is deleted, this environment will be closed, and by just switching the active to the closed and saving the work item, or doing that automatically or manually, doesn't matter, will trigger a process which will discard this environment, and the environment state will be deleted or removed. Yeah. That's development environment. QA, that's an environment for our consultants to test the apps before they are released to the customer. It means in QA, they are only the master branches or the release branches of the apps are released automatically when built. And the QA don't have the test libraries because the test app is not installed to QA. They are used only for development and for building the app during the build of the app, not in QA. And that's all. But these environments are mostly running for a longer time and could be updated regularly, and maybe have some testing data inside it and so on, are bigger than development environments. Production environment is there to describe, for example, environment of the customer, production sandbox and so on, and is used to release the application. It means the release pipeline will use this work item to get information about the environment where the app should be released. And it is mostly using these fields on the right column. Name of the production tenant, name of the environment, some keys from our Azure Key Vault to read some secret things like app secret key, partner login and password, to be able to publish the application automatically to the online environment or on-prem environment. Yeah? Those informations are stored on that part. That's the production. And newly added, I added that last week, is build target. Build target environment is used when testing the applications with testing builds, building the app to test if it is still compatible with, for example, the next version of the Business Central, the Insider build, or with current version or next cumulative update version. Yeah. I can create work item of type environment, just build target. I will fill these fields about the version and then connect these to the application. If we look at that, I will open that and display it for you. If I go to the application, yeah, the work item of type feature, I can assign as a link type related work item of type vNext, for example, for W1 build target, and for example current version on-prem build target. Yeah. And it means once per week there will be master build of our application, which will take the repository and will build it together with these two versions, the vNext version and current version. That's done in one pipeline, which automatically reads this information from this configuration and will create job for each build target and will run the build with this build target. That's the configuration which we are using in the pipelines. I don't need to change the pipelines when I want to build this app together with some other build target as a test, if it is still compatible with that. It means I can just create build target for all the localizations, for example, of Business Central, put all these build targets as related to that work item, and the build will automatically create all what is necessary for that. Yeah. Don't need anything more. If I go back to the environment which was automatically created, you can see that environment state is created now, and if I click on the link, I should be able to connect to that environment and be logged in to that system. But of course I need to use standard login because Windows Hello is not working with that. And now we have work item development environment to create what is needed for this user story. Yeah. Okay, that's not all what we can do. If I go back to the user story from which we created, that branch, and I will just remove that branch and save that user story. And when we will wait for a while, this environment should automatically switch to closed, and the environment state will change to the removing and removed. Yeah. It will take some time. Yeah, now closed. Yeah, and in few seconds, I think it's maybe 20 seconds or something, it will discard the environment for me automatically. Another income from describing the environment in this way is that there is someone assigned to that environment. It means I know the responsible person for that environment, and you can see that now it's removing, and in a few seconds it will be removed. I have assigned some specific person who is responsible for that environment. It means if I find out that there is some environment in my system, I could ask him, okay, do you still need that environment? Or we can remove it or something. And you see all the history of the environment, yeah? Who created it, when it was, for example, updated or upgraded. Because you can see that, on the environment, you can see that there is information about the current version of that environment, which is automatically updated when the container was created. And if I now go and do, for example, this thing, and I will activate it again and save it. Now, in a few minutes, we will get new environment of version 16, and there will be new version written, and then, now creating that environment. If I change the environment version, for example, to 17, switch the state to upgrade and save, our system will automatically take that container and will upgrade it to the version 17 for me. If there is some error, I will have environment state failed, and I will see the error in the discussion. It means I can, by one click or few clicks, upgrade my container to some other version. Of course, the script behind is doing some complex things to upgrade the container, but again, it's just few clicks for your developers to do everything what is needed. And you prepare the script once, but then it will save you time in future when using that. That's big income of this configuration. If you have this interface to your environment, to description of the environment, you can change what you want and just upgrade or create or recreate that environment if you want to recreate it. And everything is done in background. Okay, let it be to create that environment now. I will just reload that. And we will look at how it works in background. First, how we created new work item types. If we go to the settings and we will go to the project settings or organization settings, you have here tab process. And you can see that we have some copy or children process from the Agile template, which is default template from Microsoft. We are using the Agile, not the Scrum. Doesn't matter, but it's on you what you will use as a base. But you can create or modify, create inherited process, and you can modify that process. And all projects which are based on that process will inherit these changes. In our BC Agile template, we created new work item type. You just put the name, description, icon, and color, nothing more. And the type is environment. And we put new fields we needed for it. To put the link to the environment, I am using some additional extension, plain text control from Mohit Bagra, because it has some features that you can put some expressions with some variables from your fields, and the layout could be then represented as a link, for example, in this case. Yeah. You can put any field here. If you want to create new field, you just name it. Think about the name before you use it, because you can't rename the field, of course. Use some prefix, for example, for your fields to make distinct between the standard field names or your field names and so on. Yeah. Just create the field name, and then you will just select the type, and yeah, you will use the type, description, just some options, default values and so on based on the type, and you can put it to the page for that work item, putting the label on which page, which group, if you want new group and so on. Here you can see the name of the field which will be created. Each time it's begin with custom dot and name of your field. It means if you are using the API to access the data, you need to use the custom dot name of your field when you want to address this field. That's the environment. Then we have application version, but it has only one new field, branch filter, and nothing else on it. It's used in some specific cases in our system. Feature is standard feature work item, but we added this new tab to address all the things which we want to have it there. Yeah. That's all. How to create new work items types, and how to add new fields on that. Why we use the feature and not the work item of type application for the applications? You can see that I have this work item type, but we are not using it. Because on the backlog, I can't add the application, but now it is possible. It was not possible a few months ago, I think. Yeah, that's why we use the features as a application. Now you can create a new work item type application and put it there as a to the backlog. We want to be able to plan the features, in which order we are developing them and so on. That's why we are using this feature work item, because we are planning the app development in the backlog. That's about the configuration and storing the data. Now about how we are automatizing the things. Yeah. If I go to the settings of the process, Azure DevOps have service hooks, and we are using service hooks to react to the changes of the work items. You can see that I have multiple hooks here. I have when any work item is created, when state is changed, when link is added or removed, to be able to react that there is a branch assigned to the work item, and when there is a branch removed from the work item. And when work item is updated, that's when I change, for example, the environment state to upgrade, to be able to upgrade this environment. If we look at here, the environment is still creating. I want to show you the upgrades if it will be possible after the environment will be created. Those are events when something will happen. These hooks are set in a way that they are storing the information to our storage queue. Azure storage queue, message queue in Azure. I need only the account name of the storage account key, name of the queue, and I will just set which version of the resource I want and so on. And if I test it, it will send this request, this JSON with the data about the change, about the work item which was changed and which change was there and so on. And this will be in the message queue. And your process, your PowerShell could read that from the message queue and do whatever you want to do with this message. Yeah, for example, create the new environment. You can see that they are running correctly. In last 7 days there was 25 messages sent. It's okay. Those are the hooks. You can use different kind of hooks here. You can connect the Azure DevOps with your system in other way, but we are using the queues because it is putting the info into the queue, and even when the system is not running right now, it will be able to read these messages later when he will be able to read them. Yeah, that's why we use the queue. Now we have queue with the message, and we need to read the queue through the PowerShell. We have a script for that, which is running on our server somewhere, and I will sorry. It's part of our repository for managing the containers on our development environment. And this is the script here. Here we have a script which runs the process of watching the message queue in Azure. We have some settings here which I anonymize for this presentation. And the main thing is that I want to connect to the Azure DevOps without entering user credentials. Because it is running somewhere on the server. I don't want to log into the server to be able to connect to the Azure DevOps and put my credentials there. It means I'm using a certificate for that. In Azure, you can enter or import some certificate and assign permissions to who connect with this certificate to that service. Yeah. It means I created some certificate, I put it to the certificate store on my server, and for this certificate on Azure DevOps, I allow access to the message queue. Now I am connecting through the PowerShell to my account using that certificate, my application ID, tenant ID, and using that's the PowerShell commandlet is part of the PowerShell module AZ. Yeah, AZ account, AZ module. It means you need to install the AZ module, and then you can connect to the Azure account. And I am running my script watch queue for work item change. What it does, I'm passing through many parameters here, and I'm getting the Azure storage account I want to use for to read the data. I'm getting the storage queue from that account, storage account, and reading the message through the cloud queue get message function. Yeah. I get the message. It means I have now inside the JSON, which was sent from Azure DevOps, and I'm processing that message through the PowerShell. If there is some error, I just write out and sleep for a while to be able to repeat these kind of things. Mostly I'm trying not to skip the message because it could break the process. If there is error, I will try in a while again to process that message. Sorry. Now processing the message. It's that script. I look into that message, resources, relations, if there are some added branch relations or removed branch relations. If there is some state change, yeah, the field system state was changed on the work item, or my field environment state was changed, work item type, I'm getting it to my variable, and then doing the process. If it is environment and it was changed to active, I am creating the environment. If it is switched from active to something else, new or closed, I'm removing the environment. Those are the processes which we demonstrated in previous part. Yeah. Just running the correct things to remove the container and so on. When I put upgrade to my environment state and save it, I'm upgrading the environment. Again, run the script to do that. Same when creating and closing the environments. It means here we are creating the work item of type environment when someone added the branch to the work item, for example, to the user story. Yeah, if user story have new branch assigned, I'm creating the environment work item and activating it. If the branch is removed, I'm closing the environment. It means I'm closing the work item. And next run, because this change will come again here to the for processing, and this time it will be in the first part of the script. The environment is now closed. It means we will remove the Docker container. It means it have two steps: closing the work item itself, and by closing the work item itself, it will remove the Docker container, because I want to be able to do the same manually directly on the work item. That's all. Yeah, working with the queue from PowerShell is easy. I have all information which I need, and if I need more, of course, I can read them through the API of Azure DevOps and write them back through the Azure DevOps. Yeah. It means if I look into that script, for example, I am using my functions from my PowerShell module, NAVERTICA app DevOps. Yeah, you can use them too. Just using the personal access token URL of the work item I want to read, and I have the information about the work item. In this case, about the environment. And I can do something if it is build target, production, or any other type, and so on. It's easy, just calling the APIs and doing what you want. It means if you have some process to create the container, remove the container, you can link that action to some change in the Azure DevOps. And in this case, it will be automatically done when you do the action on the Azure DevOps. That's the configuration-driven development. I change the configuration in Azure DevOps, and everything is done in background in my server on my server. Yeah. If I go back to my work item environment, I see that it's created. Now it's version 16. And okay, I want to upgrade it to version 17. I do only this action, upgrade save. And in a while, it will change to upgrading. And this action of the upgrade will take maybe 20 minutes. You see that it's now upgrading. And the script is now running and trying to upgrade my environment to new version 17. That's upgrade of the environment for me. Yeah. The script is not simple. Yes, there are some obstacles on the way, but I will try to publish that once it is ready and if it is clean from things which are really tightly coupled with our infrastructure. Yeah. That's all about our configuration-driven development environment. There are few things in background. Not only about that you are collecting user story to application to be able to say, okay, this user story will be implemented in that application. But even because that application is connected to some epic. And on the epic, you can see that I have related work environments and I have QA environment. It means it will automatically, all the apps which are related to that epic will be released after the build. They will be published, installed into that QA database. I have 2 build targets. It means the pipeline for all the apps which are part of this epic will be builded to that build target weekly, yeah, to test if they are compatible with these versions. It means I don't need to configure that directly for each application. I just put that application as a child of this epic, and the pipeline will read everything what is needed and do that. You can see that I have one production environment connected to that epic. It means all the apps inside that epic, if I run the release pipeline for them, they will automatically release that application to that target, to that production environment, if I want. Yeah. That's the configuration. Just relation, work item of type environment, some work item describing the application, and doing the relations between all that and reading this information about the API. Okay, that's the last slide for this session. I hope that I inspired you how you can solve different things inside your organization. Maybe you will find out that you are missing many things in the process, and you need to think about how you are storing your configuration, your information about the apps and so on. Don't hesitate, just start to use the Azure DevOps, try to create your own work item types, fields where you need them and so on, and this that tool is easy to use, and why not to use it? Yeah. I hope that you enjoyed that session. I hope that you learned something new, and see you hopefully in person somewhere in the future. Thanks.